Greetings, friends. Marc David here, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. Happy Monday for those of you that it's Monday. Happy winter. I am glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here. Hey, I'm going to be talking about, are you a sensitive nutritional soul today? We're going to dive into some very interesting distinctions around people who are kind of sensitive when it comes to food, body, life, chemicals in the environment, because there's a lot of sensitive humans. So we're going to break that down a little bit. We're going to actually find out the good news. So if you're a sensitive nutritional soul, if you know people who are sensitive nutritional souls, in terms of their body, in terms of their sensitivities, in terms of their allergies, in terms of their constant complaints, we're going to talk about how this is actually a good thing, what the advantages are, and what might be going on here on a deeper and more interesting level. So here's the deal. I'm going to chit chat just for 2 or 3 or 4 more minutes, wait for people to come on to the Facebook Live. So while I'm doing that, hello, Miss Allie, glad you're here. Please do what Allie just did, say hi, let me know where you're from. That's always kind of cool because so many of us are connecting from around the globe, and I so dig that we can be in connection from all around the world. It's the greatest thing. So feel free to say hi in the comments section below. I also want to let you know, as we're waiting for people to come on before I begin, that we are now enrolling for our Eating Psychology and Mind Body Nutrition Certification Training. It starts in a few months. It starts this winter, and that is our professional training. It's online distance learning. You could take it from anywhere in the world, and pretty much all the topics that I talk about in Facebook Live that I go into today are just little hors d'oeuvres. They're little samplers of what we teach in the training. We certainly go deep down and do a dive into how to work with all kinds of eating challenges. It's not eating disorders, but it's everybody you know who binge eats, overeats, emotionally eats, who wants to lose 5 pounds, 15 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever it is. People who are having challenges with food, with body image. Kim says, I'm enrolled. Thank you. Glad you're here. Kim from Cleveland. It's Tarek. Glad you're here, my friend. Jamie's in our program as well. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, Miss Lindsay. Thanks for coming by. And hello, Tracy in Ohio. So, yeah, if you have any questions about our training, feel free to reach out to us at info@psychologyofeating.com. Happy to answer any questions. Lindsay says, this is the most perfect timing today. I love when perfect timing happens. It's such a gift from the universe when we can go, oh, the timing is just right, because then you could believe in the magic again. Kim is here from New York. Thanks for coming by. Ali Garcia is an eating psychology coach, and it's an amazing program. She recommends it. I didn't pay her to say that. Thank you, Miss Ali. And thank you, Nicola, for coming by and saying hi. So, are you a sensitive nutritional soul? And or do you know anybody that you could say, gosh, this person's a sensitive human. They're sensitive to food. Their body is sensitive. But here's the thing. Humans who have a sensitive physiology, food, chemicals in the environment, things in the air, allergies, pollutants, etc. Humans who have a sensitive physiology, guess what? They often have sensitive emotions. They often have sensitive psychic screens. Now, what I want you to hear, when I say sensitive, when I say it with a lot of love and a lot of excitement and a lot of honor. Because what's happening, and let's do this right from the start, there is a wave of, I'm going to say insult, that comes towards the humans in our society who are sensitive. We don't like sensitive people because they're sensitive. And you sit down in a restaurant and they're ordering gluten-free this and asking if there's meat in that and wondering, can I have this salad without whatever it is. So we, the collective we, often come down on the sensitive ones. What's wrong with you? What's your problem? Just eat like the rest of us. Breathe this nonsense like the rest of us. Stop reacting to people's perfumes or whatever it is. We don't like that because it's inconvenient. And what it does is it starts to hint to us that, maybe the sensitive people are onto something. So what I want to say is we treat people who are sensitive to foods, to the environment, we treat them like they have a problem. And what I would like to say is these people do not have a problem. What's happening is that they are the canaries in the mine, okay? They are the ones who have an intelligent physiology, who have intelligent immune screens, and when their body is sensing something that is not natural to it, that is offensive to it, that is toxic to it, that is poisonous to it, the body screams immediately. For others of us, the body doesn't scream immediately. It's just the way it is. Now, it could be how you're born, it could be your genetics, but quite honestly, a lot of us are exposed to toxic harms, and sometimes all it takes is a one-time toxic exposure to crash the immune system, to limit the immune system, especially at a young age. That could happen from prescription drugs, it could happen from vaccinations, it could happen from a traumatic event, it can happen from a period of just a really bad diet, or a combination of all those, or foreign travel, or catching an intense virus. And then what happens is we become sensitive. And again, I want to say that's not a bad thing, because if the world made us sensitive, then I'm interested in changing the world, actually. Yes, I have to address myself. Yes, we have to help the people who are sensitive nutritional souls, because there's ways to work with them, to strengthen them more, to build up their immunity. But what I'm saying is we got to listen to them because their bodies are holding a lot of wisdom for us. Their bodies are talking for you and for me. So first and foremost, and we teach this in our training, we love sensitive people, because sensitive is another word for saying discerning, intelligent, aware, specific, and digging into the details. Sensitivity, yeah, people could be oversensitive. I get it. But oftentimes is we jump into labeling people as oversensitive because we think they're being oversensitive because we're not that sensitive. But actually the person that we're calling oversensitive is probably normal. And the ones of us who are not experiencing the toxic insult all the time, we have had our immune system dampened. We've had our sensitivities hardened and overlaid. And we get a little tough against the world, because you need a tough immune system to deal with this world. You need a tough psychic immune system, emotional immune system to deal with the world. Sandra says, definitely sensitive, still trying to make peace with it. I love that statement, Miss Sandra. Still trying to make peace with it. That's the name of the game. Jen says, wow, what an amazing shift in perception. That's what I'm saying. We have to change our perception on this. Because what happens is we're taking in the opinions of the world. And the opinion of the world is always going to go to, there's nothing wrong with you, or nothing wrong with us, there's something wrong with you. And the opinion of the world is always going to be, come on, nut up, strengthen yourself, just eat like the rest of us. And we are here to listen to body wisdom. We're here to listen to the wisdom of life. So when the body is talking, a lot of us, and we also talk about this in eating psychology and mind-body nutrition certification training, one of my favorite distinctions is many of us, we're not just registering things in our body for just me. We're also being spokespersons for the rest of us. What does that mean? It means in a tribal situation, yeah, the scout goes out, tries different foods, tries this in the environment, tries that, gets sick, and says, oh, don't eat those berries, or, oh, you can eat that little fruity looking thing. I tried it out. So we experiment. Oftentimes the sensitive ones are the ones who are there to tell us what's happening in the world. They're spokespeople. Important to listen to them. Ali says, how about eating the same food for a long period of time? For instance, eggs for breakfast. Does that create a sensitivity? Can that possibly create a sensitivity, Ali? It could, especially if you're already a little sensitive to it, and especially if you have other substances in your diet, in your life, that are decreasing your immunity. So if you are slightly sensitive to eggs, which some people are, but it's okay, they can handle it. But then if you have a lot of sugar in your diet, and then if you have a lot of stress in your life, you add in those factors, all of a sudden, it might be easier to have a food allergy. But what I want to say is, for people who find themselves eating the same foods all the time, it's, in a weird way, it's natural. Yes, variety is good, but this is how humans evolved. There's certain fruits, vegetables, animals that are available and around only at certain times of the year. So when the coconuts are on the tree, you eat them. When the vegetables are growing, you eat them. When the blueberries are on the hill, you eat them. And you go through them until they're all done. So Donna says, I'm a sensitive person. Also, Anita, hugs from Hungary. Thank you for coming by. So I was saying that people who are often physiologically sensitive, nutritionally sensitive, are often emotionally sensitive. They're often psychically sensitive. But again, I want to say, when you hear the word sensitive, think discerning, think intelligent, think detail-oriented, think picking up on all the little nuances, think gathering important data. Dawn says, hey, see you at the IPE reunion. Yes, Dawn, I'm so glad you're going to be coming by in Colorado. Yes, it's going to be great. So psychic and emotional immune system, I forgot what I was saying, but something to the effect of, here we are, and it makes sense that if you're physiologically sensitive, you might be emotionally and psychically sensitive, and there's nothing wrong with that, because there is an amazing, we're in a field. We're in an invisible field, and you know this. You know, you walk into a room, and if somebody's hating on you, you could feel it. Or you walk into a room, and if somebody's like looking at you or checking you out, and you're not even facing them, they're behind you, sometimes you could feel it. Tarek says, the amazing thing is that medical doctors say that 50% of the allergies are of unknown reasons. You know, it's not that unknown. You're sensitive, you're sensitive. It doesn't work for your body, it doesn't work for your body. There's certain things that just don't work for us. There's certain people that don't work for you. There's certain environments that don't work for you, chemicals that don't work for you, foods that don't work for you. It's okay. That's how animals do it in nature. You know, cows are limited. They can't eat a wide variety of substances. They're going to be munching on the lawn. They're going to be munching on grass. You feed them other substances, and you start to create a very unhealthy creature, which is why we have so many problems in the food chain in our diet, especially when it comes to meat, because we are feeding our cows that we end up eating. We're feeding them unnatural substances. A lot of the feeds that they get in feedlot have animal parts in them. It's terrible. They're not meant to eat that. The body can't handle it. They get sick. Tracy says, I love looking at sensitivity in this way. So if you're a sensitive nutritional soul, if you know someone who is, what you got to do is you got to give them a big hug. You got to acknowledge them. You got to honor them. If it's you, you acknowledge yourself. You honor yourself. You get that you have a different position in life. Yes, there are people, and it is true, we're genetically different. And by the way, genetics has been so overblown in this world. The field of epigenetics is teaching us some interesting things, because what epigenetics says is that, you know, yes, we have genes that might influence alcoholism or obesity or heart disease. But just because you have genes for that doesn't mean those genes are switched on, doesn't mean they're activated. What happens is genetics loads the gun, but environment pulls the trigger. Environment meaning who I am, what I feel, what I think, what I eat, where I live, who I surround myself with, the things I'm exposed to, the toxins I'm exposed to. All of those are triggers that moment to moment, this is how genetics actually works. Moment to moment, the environment is talking to your genes, is talking to your DNA, and certain things are going to keep switches off and keep switches on. And it's a beautiful thing. So what the sensitive souls are teaching us is that all of us need to pay attention, because some of us come into this world a little stronger. Tracy says, I love looking at sensitivity in this way. Kim says, nature versus nurture. How true. Some people are stronger. They just have a stronger constitution. I grew up a sensitive nutritional soul, a sensitive human, and it took me years to figure out that I had a superpower. Yes, I was able to strengthen myself over time. I was always jealous of the guys who could eat like rocks, and guys who can drink like 10 beers. If I had 2 beers, I'd get sick. Alcohol didn't work for my system. So I just had to moderate, okay, what works, what doesn't, what works, what doesn't. That's a beautiful exchange. That's what organisms do. That's what creatures on planet Earth do. Every creature is constantly in dialogue with its environment. What works, what doesn't? Is this temperature too high for me, too low? Does this food work? Does this food not work? Is this environment good hunting grounds or not? Am I getting enough oxygen here? Am I getting enough nutrition? There's always a dialogue. You are in that dialogue silently, unconsciously with your environment. So when the body starts to react, of course you want to take notice, and of course you want to respect it. Part of the challenge, and I tell this to my sensitive nutritional soul clients, and we teach this to our students, part of the challenge is that the people who are more sensitive, they've been so beaten down by the world thinking that they're different or that there's something wrong with them. They've so been told that they're on a journey to fix themselves, but really what should be happening is the world should be fixing itself so we could so the world could make things a little bit more doable for its humans. And that means us. That means we have to start changing things. Tracy said, myself and youngest daughter have sensitivity. My older daughter and husband can't eat anything. What makes the difference between siblings with similar genetics and only 6 years of possible food? Why do we react more when we remove a food than when we reintroduce it? A lot of questions. You could pop out 5 babies and they're all going to come out different. That's how life works. That's how DNA works. That's how genetics works. That's how the human body works. That's how evolution works. It's a mystery. 5 different kids literally are 5 different human beings, different body types often. Why do we react when we remove a food more than when we introduce it? Because, think of it like alcohol. If you're an alcoholic, you're attached to that substance. You're addicted to that substance. Well, there's an offense that happens in the body when we're addicted to something that's harmful for us. There's an offense. An addiction is going to start to break the body down, but it's going to give the body enough of a benefit so you keep jonesing, so you keep wanting that alcohol or wanting that cocaine or wanting that sugar, because it gives a benefit. And the benefit to the human brain overrides the drawbacks, which oftentimes we can't feel because the symptoms are being pushed down. So as soon as you remove the alcohol, I'm going to use that as an extreme example, what happens classically when you take an addict and you just go cold turkey on alcohol, they're going to be kicking and screaming physically for several days. It is so uncomfortable because physiology is rebooting itself, quite frankly. It's like pulling out a splinter. Having a splinter hurts. Pulling out the splinter hurts even more. But once that puppy is out, life is a little bit better. So that's the short answer to your question, Miss Tracy. And Kim says that's why it's so crucial to flow with the signals your body gives. And that's what we're talking about here. So what I want to remind you is the good news that if you're a sensitive soul, if you're working with clients who are sensitive, you want to help them rearrange in their mind their concepts, their belief systems about how that's bad, how there's something wrong with them. Understand that there's nothing to fix. Would we work with a nutritional soul who's sensitive to make them stronger? Absolutely. Part of helping us help each other get stronger is this. As you work on strengthening a person's emotional life, as you work on strengthening their psychic life, as you work on helping that human empower themselves, the body has a better chance of stepping into its strength even more. So I find with a lot of sensitive nutritional souls, oftentimes what is extremely helpful is to look at the places in life where they can use more of an immune system. And I'm not talking about their body, but where do they need to say no more? Where do they need to draw the line? Where do they need to create boundaries? Where do they need to get angry? Where do they need to be a stand for themselves? Because often the sensitive ones, because they're so sensitive, allow themselves to get run over energetically and emotionally. So I find that as my sensitive nutritional clients, as the ones who have sensitive physiology, sensitive metabolism, as they start to look at, as we together start to look at the places in their life of where do you leak energy? Where do you give up your power? Where do you surrender authority or your dignity? With whom? Do you do it in your marriage? Do you do it in a relationship? Do you do it at work? Do you do it with women? Do you do it with men? Where do you give up on yourself? Because as we start to look at those places and as we notice them and as we plug up those leaks, the body gets stronger. It's an amazing way that that happens. Donna says, wow, a lot to think about. It is. And it's great stuff to think about. You know, I've had so many clients over the years who are sensitive nutritional souls, you know, and really with that population, you can do so much great work with them. You know, I'm thinking about a woman, Tanya says, thank you, you're so welcome. Thinking about a woman who, growing up, she was sensitive. She was allergic, and her brothers and sisters made fun of her. She was dismissed by her parents. She grew up just being very defensive about her health because she always had to take a special lunch, and she was always, and she really had to protect herself. Otherwise, certain foods would give her diarrhea, would give her digestive upset. And you know, eventually she had to cut herself off from her family. She went to school. She got an education. She was going to go, I forget what it was, law school, accounting. And she decided to become a natural food chef. And what's fascinating was she ended up being a private chef and doing very well for herself, you know, cooking for people with special needs. And what she did was she ended up taking her supposed disease, a supposed deficiency, my sensitivity, and she turned it into a superpower. What's the superpower? She's now aware of this thing called food sensitivities, food allergies, and different people respond differently to food. And there's a whole subset of humans who need to take care of their body very, very, very specifically. Because that's what the body wants. You know, there's certain things you got to do with your car that's very specific. You can only put certain kinds of gas in certain kinds of vehicles and certain kinds of trucks. You're only going to put diesel fuel in there. You can't put diesel fuel in a car. It's just how it works. So if you can't eat sugar, if you can't drink alcohol, if you can't eat the gluten or the dairy or the meat, you don't owe anyone an apology. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't owe anyone anything. What you do is you owe yourself the dignity of making a good choice and standing by yourself and apologizing to no one. You want to apologize to a fish if you couldn't dive in the water and hang out with the fish all day. It ain't your environment. It ain't what serves you. It ain't what works for your body. No apology necessary. Joy says a great message. Not everyone's body is going to react to certain foods in the same way. Understanding our body's messages to guide us to what our body wants and needs. Sharing our knowledge with others. Yeah, you got it. That's how it goes down. You know, it's everybody's different, so it's respecting that. You know, when I see somebody who's so strong and so empowered, around their body and they react to hardly anything, great, good for you. You have that kind of body. But I'm going to also tell you something. Some of the people I know, because I've been tracking people, friends, family, loved ones, clients over the years. That's a lot of how I learn. Observe. I observe everyone. I watch what people eat. I watch their symptoms. I watch what I know about them. I watch their energy. I watch. Gather as much information as I can. A lot of people who are just, super strong. They got a strong body, a strong digestive system, strong immune system, and they constantly expose themselves to a lot of foods that others of us might consider harmful or toxic. Eventually it catches up. You can only offend the body so long. It does catch up to us. The world is often asking us to ignore. The world is just keep moving. Don't notice the hurt, the suffering, the challenges, the poor quality food. Just keep doing it. It's fast food. You gotta eat it fast. Because if you don't eat fast food fast, you're gonna notice that it's not so much food for the body in most cases. So the sensitive nutritional souls are teaching us that we got to pay attention. We have to respect the body more. You have to respect your nutritional journey, your health journey, your biological journey, your personal journey. Got to respect it because it's got a wisdom and a brilliance for all of us. So, in another way, the sensitive souls are our unsung heroes. They're the people that we need to listen to more and more and more. The sensitive souls are the ones that you and I can start learning from more, and that we can serve them just a little better. So, my friends, I hope this was helpful for you. And I would just love to remind you once again that we're enrolling for our Eating Psychology and Mind-Body Nutrition Certification Training. That is our 8-month online certification training. Starts in a few months. We're already enrolling now. We have a great group of students from around the globe, and I'm super excited. The work is very beautiful. By the way, if anybody in this listening right now, tuning in right now, if you need an eating psychology coach, there's a bunch of them literally in this thread, so feel free to identify yourself. Email us at info@psychologyofeating.com if you have any questions. Please, if you know somebody who's interested in this topic and interested perhaps in the work that we do, feel free to share this with them. And if you like the fan page here, or if they like our fan page, then they'll get notified anytime we or I are going on Facebook Live. So, my friends, I so appreciate your time, your energy, your attention, and there's always lots more to come. You take care.